Mr. Speaker, I wish to make some comments about the Pike River mine explosion. I know that everyone in this House will join in me in very sombre thoughts at this time for those families and those miners that are indeed trapped down there in Pike River near Greymouth. 24 New Zealanders, 2 Australians, 2 Britons, 1 South African. Indeed, a family from my electorate in Foxton who have their son trapped in the mine at the moment. Tony and Christine Hoggard from Foxton are down there waiting for any news on David, who's a 33-year-old. I have been speaking to them, and I know that Parliament will join with me at this very difficult time for all of those families down there. We've got a very close-knit mining community in New Zealand, and particularly on the west coast of New Zealand. And I'm sure that anyone that saw the video footage on the TV last night, it was a very large explosion, very very sombre moment there. And it's amazing to think that Daniel Rockhouse and Russell Smith were able to walk out of this mine. I guess that gives us a glimmer of hope. Drilling has confirmed, however, that the situation in the mine is very unstable, with carbon monoxide and methane and very little oxygen. So I guess it is a bit of a bleak outlook, and indeed I read the Police Commissioner's comments with interest. Howard Broad, who was down there yesterday. We're now in our 5th day of this terrible situation down there, and I guess you think about it, we as a government and as New Zealanders, we hope for the best, but I guess we need to plan for the worst. And currently, Mr. Speaker, there are 65 rescuers on site that have all the expertise and 30 logistical support personnel. And then backing that support up is the multi-agency and organisational support based in Greymouth. Of course, what's also flowed on from this is the international thoughts that have come in from international shores, and also support. And that support is coming as we speak from Australia, where another robot is travelling, and I think due to arrive shortly, may even be on site, and another one, backup one from the United States as well. So very strong international support for what is a very dreadful and awkward situation, and we can only imagine the feeling, Mr. Speaker, of those families who wait for any news. Of course, the Prime Minister has been down there a couple of times to support those families and support the community. We have the Minister of Energy and Resources, Jerry Brownlee, on site down there, also we have the West Coast MP, Chris Ockenvold. It's interesting to note that there's a huge amount of community support in this area, and I was interested to hear that the local Polytech, students have just recently passed their certification to become chefs. They are now tuning out 100 meals a day for people involved in this incident, and apparently there's a lot of home baking rolling in as well. I think it's also important to realise that New Zealand has a long history, a very successful history in the coal mining industry, and an incident like this is dreadful for the industry and also for New Zealand, but we will recover, Mr. Speaker, and we will learn from this. And the Prime Minister has said that there will be an inquiry that may end up being several. I don't want to preempt those, but I think it's worthwhile drawing to the House's attention that on 26 of the order paper, a bill under my name is the Inquiries Bill that is intended to replace the current Commissions of Inquiry 1908, and that modernises this Act, and it might be that the government at some point in the near future chooses to make progress on this bill. So in conclusion, my hearts and thoughts go out to those family members